Hey y'all, we're back with part two because I had to go of the 8 steps to finding housing here in Portugal, and we left off on step number 5. You must negotiate your rent. You must negotiate your rent. So again, if I hadn't mentioned it before, people are showing up and they're paying 12 months in advance, or they're just taking the listing price, and that is a mistake because it's making the owners have expectations that are unrealistic for rent. So we're asking everybody to be responsible and negotiate your rent. And I'm not just saying that because they're not due what's just. But you have to understand some of the housing here isn't the newest housing. It's older housing. A lot of times it doesn't have insulation. A lot of times it lacks some of the conveniences that we're used to as standard. We need to make sure that we're being responsible with the way that we're negotiating for housing so that it respects everybody involved. Number 6 is we need to understand what the landlord requires. So, what I mean by that is more so that you need to set yourself up so that are you're as transparent as you can be. So they're going to be looking for the same things other than a credit check that any other landlord will be looking for. How are you supporting yourself? What do you state your business? Why are you here? You need to be able to explain all of that. And what I did, and you should do as well because it helped, was to go ahead and pre-write a offer email, something that says this is who I am, this is where my money comes from, this is what I'm doing, I'm applying for a visa, blah blah blah, and these are the documents that I can offer you, if you're open to my offer. You need to already have that written out and something of it in your profile of these platforms that you're using to find an apartment. So that's another thing. Be responsible with the way that you're negotiating for these contracts on both sides. Number 7 is you want to be aware of the timing that you're looking for housing. So the timing counts, and it's just like anything else. Peak season, the season where kids are out of school, the season where people are traveling the most. So just think about it with me. They're out of school in spring break. They're out of school and in the summertime. They're out of school even in the winter, like Christmas break. Those times are usually the worst times to search for housing. So especially in the summer. In the summer, June, July, summer, August, but mostly in those months, that's where it's hardest to negotiate because everybody's looking for housing at the same time. So just make sure that you're aware of that. Number 8 is you need to lower your expectations, and you also need to take a win as a win. So what I mean by lower your expectations is that because there's such a housing crisis and people are competing over houses, you're going to be like, this is what I get for my money, right? Stuff like that, not to criticize, but you need to kind of come with expectations that you're just trying to make sure something is safe. You can make it how you want to make it. I say that you should pay more attention to the location than what you are the structure itself, except for, of course, not make sure you don't have high utility bills because there's something structurally wrong. But I'm saying don't get hung up over things like the countertops and, oh, I really had this idea in my head. Just be aware of that. And then I'll tell you another thing is when you see somebody that's accomplished this, you need to pat them on the back, and that being yourself as well, because it's not easy. It's not an easy feat to get housing here, and you're not from here, or you don't have any company moving you here or anything like that. It's very difficult. That's another reason why I tell you to give yourself a top 5 when you're looking, so that you have 5 chances at a contract, because you may not get it on a first try, you might not get it on a second offer, you might not get it on a third offer. It's that type of competition here. So when you accomplish this, pat yourself on the back. Don't think about, well, I didn't get this on my list, I didn't get that. You got it. You did get it. So that's all I wanted to say. I hope y'all got something out of this video. Please share, like, and hopefully subscribe. Talk to you soon.